it's hard to get more spectacular than that, at least.
This is Malou, sailing somewhere on the seven seas. And this is me, her captain, trying to steer her out into the unknown to be able to find that one very special spot. Consider subscribing and welcome on board.
Still raining quite a bit here in beautiful Ålesund, but today I figured I'll go up these stairs. There's like a ridge going up to the top of a hill and stairs just zigzagging all the way up to a top where it's supposed to be spectacular views over the city and the surrounding areas. I'm gonna head up in that direction, and later today I'm gonna be sailing into the fjords as well. Just gonna check it out a little bit first. Now I can already see why you would consider this to be one of the most beautiful towns there are. Like, even on a day like this, like really gloomy and everything, you just like, the town just stretches along and you got all the beautiful architecture. It's a little bit to see on this wide angle lens now, but all the way here it's just these beautiful buildings from the beginning of the 1900s, and yeah, it's just spectacular town in so many ways. I'm not usually much for cities or towns, but this is actually a really beautiful town, to be honest. Now I made it to the actual top. It's about 500 steps or so. Can't really see the city center from here because of this incredibly ugly building, but you can see to the south where I'm heading today. I'm just gonna be heading straight down here, and then right where the sun is shining kind of into a fjord, heading straight south. It's gonna be the first time that I'm heading south in quite some time, which feels a little bit strange, but it feels completely right as well, because the Alps and the mountains in there and the fjords are supposed to be really spectacular. So really looking forward to that. And I'm not having a good weather report either to sail north for the few coming days, so could just rather go in. It's like 20 miles or something into a fjord, and that's going to be really exciting to see what that has to offer. There goes my new English sailing friends. They're heading north towards Trondheim, and that guy steering the boat, Kevin, he's been sailing for long distance sailing for over 40 years actually, all around the world. So getting to know some of his knowledge has just been super valuable, especially because he's been sailing in Norway for at least like 10 years or something like that, or even more. Got the wind, light wind straight in our back, so Genoa on a pole, flat water. It's pretty ideal setup at the moment. Just doing like 3 knots or something like that, but as it's flat water, that's just a nice way to sail basically. And I think the sail is gonna take like 5 hours, something like that, in pretty slow speed. And after half the way or more or less, we're gonna get into the fjord, and I think the mountains are just gonna rise above us, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now we got some better wind, so we're just surfing along now in 5.5 knots, something like that. Way smoother movement, just like I'm used to from at home in the west coast of Sweden. This is very common sailing in that area, and as soon as you get in here in sheltered areas as well, you can get this kind of sailing where there's just islands and fjords all around the place. So I'll just hope that this wind will be sustained all the way into the fjord as well, but I'm not really counting on it. Slowly making it into this sound right here. Beautiful little buildings, and it has a bridge in front of us which is 16 meters high. It's gonna be super okay for us to go under there, but we got quite a bit of current with us here, and not too much wind, just a little bit of wind from behind, which means that it's a little bit hard to steer, because when the current is just pushing the boat, I'm losing even more steerage because the wind is getting lighter in the sails basically. But so far I'm able to steer and keep the steerage, but gotta keep an eye out, so if it gets any more narrow or anything, it could get even more current and it could be really hard to steer. So gotta be ready to start the engine if something like that would happen. So approaching the fjord right now, and at the same time there's a big rain weather approaching from the south, or southwest you could say. But I don't know, maybe it's gonna be passing just in front of us, but we'll see what happens. We've got quite a bit of rain on us already, so I'm already quite wet. Doesn't really matter if we get much more, but hopefully we're gonna get a little bit more wind so we can sail somehow into the fjord before we have to turn on the engine. Still got another, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles to go, but the wind is kind of dying out. I'm just gonna sail a little bit more now, see how far this wind can take us into the fjord, and then eventually just turn on the engine for the rest of the way. But these mountains just towering up here is just really, really nice. Got this really big one up here in the distance, and then up here there's a few patches of snow actually still from last winter. All the way along this fjord here there's just this waterfall and streams coming down from the mountains, like all over the place. They are just bursting down like crazy. I don't know, like I don't know where it's actually coming from. Like, they're coming from nowhere out from the mountains kind of, and still with all these clouds you're not even able to see the tops at the moment. But I think it might clear up a little bit later here. It's gonna get dark pretty soon though, so we'll see what happens. But this is just pure magic to see. Like this one right here gets 4 different streams into one in the end. This fjord that we're sailing into right now is called the Fjord, and the next fjord, if you go east from here, is the very famous Fjord, where a lot of cruise ships and stuff like that go. And according to a lot of people that I spoke to, this smaller Fjord is actually more spectacular than the Fjord. And I've never been in the Fjord, but when seeing all this, I kind of can understand that this fjord could be more spectacular in a way. It's hard to get more spectacular than that, at least. Now I'm in this little marina, just making my way slowly in. In the beginning I was a little bit concerned that it was too shallow to go in all the way to the marina in there, because it's low tide and it looked like it was really shallow, but you get a little bit tricked by that as well when you're just looking into the water basically. So it's quite deep, or deep enough at least, so it's gonna be no problem. I'm gonna try to go as far in as possible here. Some mornings are basically just better than others. Just have a look at this place, guys, and look at this. During the night it's been raining down here, but up there it's been coming the first snow that I've seen for this autumn, which is a good sign that winter is actually on its way. Now it's clearing up a little bit as well. So I've been inside my cave here all morning doing some editing and stuff, but now when it's clearing up I'm gonna be heading out and checking out this place, because this is a place. Look at this, look at that, that's insane. I want to go up to here. Just been out on a little trip, found quite a bit of mushrooms and bought some butter as well for that, so I'm gonna fry that up for dinner. But now I'm gonna head out and try and do some fishing as well to get some fish for dinner as well. So hopefully I'm able to catch something. Today I'm gonna be using the same kind of tackle with a lot of hooks that I used last time I fished, but instead of the jig I'm gonna be using this red kind of lure. It's a little bit lighter and it doesn't sink as fast, so don't go down in the bottom as fast because it's not as deep here as it was on the last spot. So now let's see if there's any fishy around. Yes. Good job. So I got another one of these guys, but this is a little bit too small to keep, so it's going back. Let's see if we can catch some more. I got it just right next to the jetty actually, so I'm just gonna go do a short throw. It is starting to get a little bit darker, so I'm getting a little bit desperate here. I'm gonna try to put some of these shells, mussels on the hooks, and I took off the hook from the bait, which is basically just gonna serve as a weight now. So I'm just gonna cast this out and try to let it sink to the bottom. See if I can find something lurking around over there. So I didn't manage to catch any more fish, but there was a very nice German couple who just came in from their fishing trip and they caught quite a bit of fish. So they gave me like 3 really nice fillets to just bring on the boat. So I don't even have to do any filleting now. I just bring it on, do a little bit of breading and throw it in the pan. Perfect. That's just, when you're out like this in small places and stuff like that, people are just really, really friendly most of the time. At least that's what I found. So now let's go in and make some dinner because it's getting a little bit cold. There we have the meal for the evening. Got some freshly caught fish, not sure what kind of fish it is. Bulgur, freshly caught mushrooms, and some Norwegian rømme for that, which is kind of similar to creme fraiche. So simple little Norwegian dinner for me, and also a Swedish beer for that. Bon appetit, everybody. The skies are starting to clear up on this third day, and now I'm gonna be heading up to that big bowl up there. It looks more or less like a half kind of volcanic crater or something like that. Just gonna head up there, see what I can find. So here we got the trail starting from the road. A lot of sheep as well, walking around with their bells clinging around. So I'm heading up this direction. We're getting closer and closer to this big bowl, and it's quite a steep trail actually, but actually a really good trail as well. And when we came here, found some blueberries. Look at these guys. That's just gold from the forest. I probably didn't even have to bring dinner today. I'm slowly but surely getting closer to my destination. I hope there's like a small lake up here or something. There must be something where this creek is coming from, because it would be really cool to maybe jump in and take a little bath as soon as we're getting up to there. It's gonna be exciting. Got some patch of snow as well we can roll around. One small step for me, but one huge step for humanity. Made it to a snowfield. It's more or less ice, you could say, actually. Doesn't have any softness to it at all. Been here for a long time, I guess. Now I'm just gonna sit down, have a little bit of dinner, and just enjoy all this stuff. I hope it's gonna clear up a little bit more as well, so I can have a nice view over the Alps here. So this is definitely one of these places where getting up is not super hard, because you're just heading up all the time with your hands on the ground. But going down is, as you can see, with all this tiny rocks everywhere, it's not too easy actually. I already had a few rocks just slip away underneath me, almost falling. But I'm gonna head back down to the wall here, trying to be able to grab onto that or something and just take it very slowly.